Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. What a perfect touch for a perfect occasion. A Hawk victory. The person we are acknowledging has now stood alongside 636 of them and counting. And that's just men's basketball. As you might say, forever deflecting, celebrate and remember. 30 years ago, I had the good fortune of working for Father Nick Rashford, who's with us today. Father Nick. I was fortunate, let me turn my page here. I was fortunate to be part of a very special homecoming project for St. Joseph's University. While Father Nick was busy building bridges across City Avenue, he also built a great team across the university. The athletic director he hired in 1988 had already held the job, serving St. Joseph's College from 1976 through 1981. The position had reopened, and it was time to take the program and the university to the next level. Short of hiring the Hawk itself, there was really only one candidate. Come to think of it, Don, maybe we did hire the Hawk. Has any person in any walk of life at any institution ever embodied, and I mean ever embodied and brought to life that institution and its mission so perfectly? We all know the answer. Don DiJulia is the Hawk. He is all of our best selves. Today, we attempt to recognize a truly extraordinary individual in the briefest possible way, and it's the only way he would allow us to do it. Don, there are only 3 speakers, so you can see it, set the over and under for them at 7.5 minutes. First up, the coach of the victorious women's basketball team, Cindy Griffin, class of 91, who would love to be here today, but instead, she's getting ready for a championship.
It's hard to put into words in one single tribute what Don DiJulia has meant to me personally and to our women's basketball program here at St. Joseph's University. Whether it be traveling, whether it be training, whether it be recruiting, Don has always provided our program with a first-class budget, first-class operation. Who's the first to wish us good luck and to get on a bus at 5 a.m. and to welcome us back after a long bus ride? Don DiJulia. It's amazing on how many hours Don has put in outside of the normal work hour and made us all feel very, very important to St. Joseph's University and to the athletics program. Don will be greatly missed. We want to thank him on behalf of our women's basketball program. And again, words can't really describe how much he really means to me personally and to our women's basketball program. Congratulations, Don. You know I wish I could be there today, but the best way to honor you is to play our hearts out at the Atlantic 10 tournament this weekend. Thank you. The Hawk will never die.
Coach Cindy Griffin. Cindy, good luck in the finals. So as I turn the microphone over to Coach Phil Martelli, I would just like to say, on a personal level, you walk through life. I've had the good fortune of knowing Don DiJulia for over 40 years. And among the most decent, greatest human beings, in fact, the greatest human being that I've ever had the honor to call my friend, Don DiJulia. Don. And with that, Coach Phil Martelli.
Thank you. I'm never one to criticize anybody, but I really think Cindy's being a bit selfish. You know, sitting down there in Richmond, and the beauty is the #1 seed got beat. So St. Joe's will be favored in that game tomorrow, and we have to speed this up. We have to speed this up because I will guarantee you, without having asked the question, that my man is on a train to Richmond tonight. There you go. And then he's getting some years taken off of purgatory. He's traveling with Chris. The other thing is, this is just a little bit of a self-promoting note. Everybody in here, you have permission at 7 o'clock tonight to be rooting for Richmond and root for St. Bonaventure, and that'll be your 4th seed right there. Everybody in here has a Don story. Now, your story could be about tickets, could be about game times, could be about a visit to the hospital, or a viewing, or a funeral, but you all have a story. You have to have a Don story. Now, respectfully, you don't know what he said during that meeting. You don't understand all of the flows and the ebbs that go with that conversation. But you do know this: you were heard and you were respected, because that's Don DiJulia at his essence. He does everything with respect, and he does everything for you and for others. So there is no confusion. This is not an honoring of Don. This is only an acknowledgement. That was the only thing that he would agree to. But let me tell you about the world outside. At the NCAA, I have occasion to go there and to participate in several committees. There's not a person at the NCAA, from Mark Emmerich on down, that every time they see me, they'll say, "How's Don? Don's one of the best." That's respect. Because we well know that the NCAA, there's a lot of bunker mentality, but never with regard to Don. In the Atlantic 10, Commissioner McClade could be anywhere. Why is she here? Don DiJulia, thank you for joining us. And you all know in the Big Five, he is the guardian, he's the keeper, and in this basketball program, he knows more about anybody that's ever played, including, and he would not allow this to happen. He would not allow this to happen. Don's always bypassed as a player, but he was the first one to wear number 14, and there it is hanging in the rafters. It's never about Don, and it's never about his unbelievable love of family. Don's family's here. I know there's a lot of them. Could you just raise your hand? Not you, Chris. There they are. He's given to this university and to our student athletes, and not always given to his family. But they've been on the ride with him. The only thing I would change in Cindy's talk is that she said Don is going to be missed. He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. He won't go away. He's going to be with us. And everything that happens in this basketball program, in this athletic program, is because of Don DiJulia, the man. Tomorrow they're doing a special. And the guy said to me, "Can you sum it up?" And I'll sum it up in one word right here for all of you. 2 words. This is a great man. It's a great man. And he has made St. Joseph's better. And that's the challenge that all of us face in life. Whatever we're involved in, leave it better. There's not one of you that can sit down and say, Don DiJulia didn't make St. Joseph's and St. Joseph's Athletic better. Thank you.
A couple years after I was born, and I think only 14 years after my father graduated from St. Joe's, and not long before being taken to the Palestra myself for the first time, Don DiJulia returned to his alma mater as athletics director. So personally and literally, I have never known a time in which he wasn't. During my years at Fairfield, where Don also spent some time on the staff, there were many stories of Don as commissioner of our conference at the time, the MAC, and then his second return to St. Joe's after 4 years in Connecticut and 2 earlier as commissioner of the East Coast Conference were so seamless that for many he had never left. And for those of us still on Hawk Hill, he can and he will never leave. It's one thing to retire, deservedly, contentedly, and with the admiration of so many. But it's another to move on from a legacy that is indelible. Don DiJulia's legacy is permanent. His impact on students, athletes, coaches, colleagues, alumni, visiting schools, media, the NCAA, Atlantic 10, and all our fans is overwhelming and just part of the story. I learned very quickly that his were wise eyes and willing ears, everything a new president could want. Don has served St. Joseph's College and St. Joseph's University in 6 different decades, its presidents all the way back to Father Tolan, and hundreds of coaches, student athletes, and fellow administrators. At his core, the student-athlete experience and our Jesuit mission have driven him and all of us to unimagined heights. Don, I know you'd rather pack up some quiet morning in May and go unrecognized back to your family and countless friends. And trust me, folks, I had to practically beg him to be here today. The last person who wants to be here is the person you're going to hear from in a moment. But this is a crowd that he and I both knew we wanted a wave, and you deserve a wave. And Don, we want to wave back to you. But think of it this way, Don. By taking part in this short ceremony, you are the one acknowledging us. You are the one sharing your love for St. Joseph's one more time. And we are honored as individuals, as competitors, as the institution to which you have dedicated your life and career to love you back, today and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, the truest talk of all, Mr. Don DiJulia.
I'm going to wave and leave. I'm going to tell them I'm going to wave and leave. Thank you. Please be seated. It's going to take a while to read all 4,212 names of all of you here, so I want you to be seated. But as Dr. Reed just said, all I had to do was wave, and I'm out of here. Thank you. But I couldn't do that to you because of what you've meant to me. But first, let's do it real. Imagine this team right here, 10 wins in the Atlantic 10, currently 4th place in the Atlantic 10, so let's give them a rousing welcome. Who was more resilient than they were this year? And the other student athletes, coaches, and staff that are here, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All we try to do at St. Joseph's and why it's such a special place is to try to create an environment and a culture to help students and student athletes learn and grow, achieve and succeed. And everyone at the university is part of that team. I guess I should thank the speakers here first. Cindy from afar, Phil, thank you. Mr. Dan, thank you. Dr. Reed, thank you. All of you here, all of those not here, all of those past and deceased who made an impact on me, I truly want to thank you. And a lot of those who had in the early days and aren't with us anymore are remembered by me. Certainly why it's been special is it takes a team, and you are the St. Joseph's community team. No one can do it by themselves, and it takes the committed, passionate, dedicated, spirited St. Joseph's community that's inspired me on many, many occasions. So thank you. The first time, somebody asked me, when was the first time you were on campus? When were you hawked? First time I ever came to campus was to see a high school teammate play who was a freshman at St. Joe's, Tom Wynn. We sat there in the corner. I think Tom did as usual. He shot 2 for 12. And then after the game, everyone was congratulating Tom. That was the first time. And obviously it wasn't the last time to watch Tom and teammate Jim Lynham. If you're here, thank you. And we were hawked from that time forward. My family here, our head coach, I have to tell you this secret. Nobody knows, don't tell anybody. We've been married 50 years. Now hold on. Given my schedule and her schedule with the kids and grandkids, we've only been together 32 years, so it's been 32 wonderful years. Thank you. So the Magnificent Seven is sitting there, and those Magnificent Seven now have 14 little future Hawks. So thank them. Lastly, it's just a request. The next 5 to 10 years, under the leadership of Dr. Reed, the current board, the current leadership of the university, all faculty and staff, are going to be, arguably, the most exciting, yes, challenging times in our history. I'll be here in 2025, kind of root all of you on. So stay with us. Stay with us. Expand the net. Bring in more friends so they can see and witness what will happen over these next 5 to 10 years. Because you are the team, and it can't be done without each of you and more. And the best definition of team I learned from a St. Joe University senior men's basketball player in 2004. After Jameer played his last game, and the coaches and 3 players had a 10-minute cooling off period. They had to meet the nation's media. How somber was that? I think some of our fans haven't gotten over it yet, but they had to get over it in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. One of the questions the reporters directed at Jameer, I guess you're very disappointed that you didn't reach your ultimate goal, getting to the Final Four. 10 minutes after the most disappointing shot he'd ever taken up to that point. 10 minutes. Jameer said, I am very disappointed. Our team is very disappointed because we worked really hard to get here, and yes, we did want to get to the Final Four to win the championship. We think we're the best team in the country, but we lost. but that wasn't my ultimate goal. I can't answer the question, did I achieve my ultimate goal? You'll have to ask my teammates, because my ultimate goal was to be the best teammate they ever had. 10 minutes. That was his answer. That was his answer. So, this is the St. Joseph's team. We have to do it with one another. And I'll end by saying that another famous American, Frank, said, "It's so good, you have to say it twice." New York, New York. Well, this is so good, I need to say it twice to all of you. Thank you, among the most powerful words in the English language, but I need to say it twice. So thank you, and thank you.
We just have one final thing to do here today. It's not in the script, Don, because we know you would have scrutinized it and you would have cut it. And there is such a thing as presidential prerogative, and I'm about to exercise it. So thank you, Don. Let me also recognize Pat, the entire extended DiJulia family, for sharing him with us for so long. But before we adjourn, and we let the team begin preparing for the Atlantic 10 tournament, there's this one final piece of business. Over the years, the university has acknowledged its most outstanding performers in every sport. From Dr. Jack Ramsey to Jameer Nelson, they are the best of the best. And Don DiJulia links every era in every sport that can be found in the St. Joe's Athletics Hall of Fame. If he is not a Hall of Famer himself, then it's not a hall worth having. And ladies and gentlemen, please join me in formally and finally welcoming Mr. Don DiJulia to the St. Joseph's University Athletics Hall of Fame. Congratulations.